couple of weeks ago, the newest season of Love, Death and Robots dropped on Netflix, and I actually really enjoyed this season. It was a massive improvement over season 2, which for me, and I feel like a lot of other people, was a bit of a mixed bag. This season, however, properly cemented why I love this show so much. It's one of those shows that when it is on top form, it can properly showcase the true potential of how visually creative and unique some of these stories can be. And I feel like it's doing something very well that a lot of other anthology shows at the moment are kind of struggling with. Now, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love other anthology shows on at the moment, such as Black Mirror or Inside Number 9. However, I do have a bit of a criticism with both of them, especially Inside Number 9, that Love, Death and Robots never has seemed to have. And that issue being, for an anthology show, it feels like it's not really scraping the true potential of what an anthology format can do for a show like that. And again, I want to stress, I'm not slagging Inside Number 9 or Black Mirror off for any reason. I'm just pointing something out that I think needs to be said. And that is the fact that they have a format there that they can properly utilise in terms of a creative sense. But they're not properly utilising it. For example, with Inside Number 9, even though the stories are different with each episode, you know that when you go into an episode of Inside Number 9, it's either going to be a comedy, a drama, a horror-related thing, or an episode that kind of blends all three elements together. But nothing visually or, creatively really sets all the episodes apart. Sometimes you do get episodes like The Devil of Christmas or Deadline where it doesn't just mix up the approach visually for the episode, but structurally as well. However, that is just a small handful of episodes in the grand scheme of ones they've done for Inside Number 9. The vast majority of episodes that they have made all look and feel very similar, no matter what tonal genre they are going for. They all look and feel like very typical dramas, if that makes sense. At least with Black Mirror, they try to mix things up every now and then, where you get things like Bandersnatch or Metalhead. Those are two brilliant examples of Black Mirror going outside of its comfort zone and trying something genuinely different. Sometimes it might work, sometimes it might not, but at least they're trying to do different things. Which is also why I think the fact that the show is animated kind of gives it a bit of an advantage. Because I guess with Black Mirror and with Inside Number 9, because they, are typical shows in the fact that they are filmed with actual actors, they kind of have certain limitations with the episodes that they do to an extent. Whereas, because Love, Death and Robots is animated, and it's not just stuck to one specific animation style. For example, one episode might be animated like an anime, another one might have 3D animation, another one might have stop motion animation. Because it is literally just generally an animated show and doesn't stick to one style or format or genre, it can do literally whatever it wants. And I feel like that alone is how you should do an anthology series. Truly taking that format of, right, we're going to do something different every episode, which is what an anthology show technically is, trying something new every episode, whether it works or not. And Love, Death and Robots, in my opinion, is probably the best example we're ever going to get of an anthology show, because it is animated and because it has no restrictions in terms of what they can do, quite literally in some extents. It literally has the potential to do anything. And like I said before, I feel like season 3 of Love, Death and Robots is probably the best example we have of this, because there are extremes of every variety in this season. For instance, if you look at an episode like Bad Travelling, which is this 3D animated, very moody and dramatic piece, which is about a ship whose crew are trying to figure out what exactly they should do with this giant crab that's below deck, that's eating each of the crew one by one. It is this very tense, but simple episode that, again, in terms of the way it is animated, really lends itself to that moody and atmospheric approach. And also the fact that it's directed by David Fincher also helps. And then for the complete opposite, you have an episode like Night of the Mini Dead, which is essentially a zombie apocalypse that is happening, but you're viewing everything from a very zoomed out, top-down perspective, almost like you're God looking down at all these tiny little people just being completely wiped out. And though it sounds kind of horrific, it's actually one of the funniest episodes they've ever done. I know some people are not a fan of this episode, but I found it to be absolutely hilarious. There's just something so simple but also kind of stupid with just the general concept, and as soon as you watch it you'll know exactly what it's trying to do. And again, it's kind of dumb, but it's also hilarious at the same time. And then you also have an episode like Jabaro, which is personally my favourite episode of season 3 and one of the best episodes I think they've ever done. It's this very strange, surreal sort of episode that utilises what I presume is 3D animation, but does it in a very surreal, visceral, and what I presume is like a photorealistic approach that it kind of smacks you over the head with its style. Some people will probably not like it for it kind of being style over substance, but considering it is a very short episode, and that's another thing, all of the episodes for Love, Death and Robots never exceed half an hour, I think. They're all very short and to the point, and they give you exactly what you need from that episode and nothing more, which I think is a bonus, which is something Black Mirror needs to kind of learn. No one needs an episode that's an hour and a half. Just keep them short, to the point, and just get on with it. But again, because Love, Death and Robots doesn't stick with one specific animation style, because it delves into stop motion, 2D animation, 3D animation, literally a bit of everything, it is able to do variety of different things with each season. That's why you get episodes like Jabaro and Night of the Mini Dead in the same season, and it never feels jarring. Obviously they're not connected, but at least with Black Mirror or Inside Number 9, if you've seen a couple of episodes of those shows, you can tell, both in terms of their visual style, that, oh, that's an episode of Inside Number 9, or, oh, that is definitely an episode of Black Mirror, because you can kind of tell aesthetically that, like, oh, that is that. But with Love, Death and Robots, though there are a few things here and there that kind of connect the visuals of the show, each episode looks and feels completely different. For instance, with Season 1, The Secret War feels completely different to something like The Witness, or with Season 2, All Through the House looks and feels completely separated from something like Pop Squad. And even with Season 3, something like Jabaro is completely different to something like Mason's Rats. Do you see what I mean? None of the episodes feel similar in terms of their visuals, or aesthetic, or their tone, or their genre. It tries something new every single time. Sometimes it doesn't always work. Not every episode of Love, Death and Robots is a win. There are 1 or 2 episodes that do feel rather sluggish and don't captivate you as much as others. But at least they're trying something different every time. Whether it's a completely unique, brand new idea, or whether it's borrowing certain ideas or stories from things like H.P. Lovecraft. It's always trying something new. And I would rather an anthology show does something like that, where it tries a variety of things, whether they work or not, but it's always trying something new, compared to a show that is meant to do that, but always plays it safe. And again, I don't want to sound like I'm slagging off any other anthology show like Inside Number 9 or Black Mirror or even The Twilight Zone. Those are very good shows for what they do, but in terms of that anthology show format, they really could be doing a lot more to take advantage of the format they have set themselves in. I'd love to know what you think in the comments below, generally about anthology shows or just Love, Death and Robots in general. I'd love to know what you think about it in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, then give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Bye.